What's going on, fans of Running Force Productions? Joffrey Curry here. You may know me as the host of Mooncutter Sportscast. But tonight, we're not here as Mooncutter Sportscast. Tonight is the launch of a new show here on Running Force Productions, Shock Sports Wrestling. And without further ado, let me introduce you to the new host of this new show, Kevin Legs. What's up, buddy?
Hey, not much, just sitting here, the eve before SummerSlam. Can't wait to talk about that tonight, as well as some more to come on this channel. Everything from, the WWE feds to indie interviews and some indie wrestler stuff. You'll see a lot on here.
I know what the planning stages of what you've discussed having in mind for this. I'm excited to see what you have to bring to the table with Shock Sports Wrestling.
And I'm not alone, actually. I have my co-host, who I've worked with many times in the past, my friend of well over 13 years. I have Eric joining me from Shock Sports Podcast. Hi, Eric.
What's going on? We're going to have a lot of fun on this, for sure. Finally, about time we get our first episode in. I got SmackDown on the TV here to get in the mood. So, let's go.
Given that it's weird that the branching point for all of this was originally Shock Sports Podcast, which the three original members of that when it launched were Eric, Kevin, and myself. So this is almost like a family reunion.
When we don't see each other at indie shows now.
Well, that too.
We dragged you back in. Just when you thought you were out, Joffrey, we kept pulling you back in.
That's right.
I mean, technically, the way it's come full circle that I brought you guys in, but...
I know, right?
Well, you know what they say. Sometimes you just can't escape. No matter who it is. Whether that's a relationship.
Yeah, we know a couple people personally that just can't stay out.
we know a few. There's a few people, whether it's at their jobs, in the business, anything. It's an addiction. We all know we have it in one shape or form. And if it transcends to the ring or a podcast, you have it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Now, you mentioned some things you just can't escape from. I think that's a good segue into the first point on your list there, Kev.
Yeah, some things you just can't escape from. And with that first point, it is Vince McMahon. I know it's old news by this point, has retired from the WWE, has stepped down and has stepped away completely. I say completely because I imagine his word will still be taken as golden rule, even if he doesn't have the title of chairman and CEO. But
we shall see.
We all know the story, how it came to light that Vince McMahon and Johnny Ace, People Power, were caught paying some people off for some things and decisions they should have never done or made.
Certain favors, but we're not going to go too far in depth onto that.
Because that's not the full point of this. The full point would be, where do we go from here? The WWE came into the popularity because of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. The one that just stepped down, not his father, obviously. But yeah, so this is the first time without WWE being Vince's company. So where does that lead us from here?
Well, I know the new hierarchy with Vince out of the picture. WWE now has co-CEOs in Stephanie McMahon, the first daughter of professional wrestling, and Nick Khan, who has been heavily involved over the past couple years.
Huge investor.
Yes. I would think Stephanie has a little bit more control because not only is she co-CEO, but she's also now chairwoman of the board.
Yes. She is now the majority shareholder of WWE, basically. So, yeah, she would be the main one in charge.
Bruce Pritchard has been moved. Well, not really moved, but his power has been shifted. Instead of being split in charge of talent relations and creative, he's now fully invested in creative, because the biggest piece of news out of all of this that came out a couple days after Stephanie getting appointed as chairwoman of the board and co-CEO, he's back. Triple H is back in charge of talent relations for the company.
Which is actually I'd say just as a big of a moment is when he came back from his quad injury. Remember the whole YouTube vignette, like he's coming back, that kind of thing. Because back then they thought his career was over when he tore his quad. The amount of pain he had to go through, I can only imagine with his heart problems that anyone thought he was actually going to step back into a position where there's a lot of stress. I would consider those equals. It's not an in-ring return, clearly, but it's just a return to a position of stress and power that everyone longed for, because we look at the success he had as the person in charge of NXT, and then when he got taken from him, I really haven't watched NXT 2.0.
I don't think a lot
Honestly,
of people have.
I know I quit watching when he got like an episode or two after he got removed because of the change ups. I wasn't a fan of the new product. In my opinion, ever since like the era of Bo Dallas as NXT champion up until the 2.0 reboot, NXT was WWE's best product.
Someone you consider a developmental is the best you got, that's a problem.
See, that's the thing. When everyone says the NXT was developmental, I mean, you can say it's developmental for the WWE style of wrestling,
Yeah.
because look at the biggest stars that were on that show. All people that have had success in other companies, whether it was Shinsuke, AJ, Samoa Joe, Ciampa, Gargano. These are all people that honed their craft down on the indies. So this was
Right.
basically the equivalent of Ring of Honor for the WWE product.
Right, and that's the way, like, I think they kind of treat it that way, too. You know, they have shows at Full Sail University, only can hold, like, 6,000 people a show. I think that was the environment they wanted for the weekly episodes. And then for the pay-per-views, it was about, okay, here's the WWE style. Show us where the exact hard cam's going to be. You know, exactly, you know what I mean? Where all the ringside cameras are. We've showed you this for months. Now it's time to go out there and prove it. That's the way they treated it, and it worked.
And Triple H was a very big mind with that. I mean, look what he did with all the companies to found NXT UK, Joffrey.
I was going to say, on the same note as what you were saying about all of the NXT talents that had been there that had made their names on the indie scene. Look at the current landscape of even the quote unquote main roster shows with Raw and SmackDown. How many of the people leading the charge there started off on NXT? The entirety of the Shield, a lot of the keystones on the women's division: Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Asuka. I would say Sasha Banks, but apparently she's not even with the company anymore. I'm not sure how much of a
I
worker
still don't
she
know who
Her
that
that
and
is.
is.
Bailey quit.
Bailey was Naomi.
It was Naomi.
Naomi,
Bailey's
sorry.
Bailey's hurt.
just waiting to come back from injury.
Sorry, my bad. My bad. I don't know why I said that.
I mean, hell, tonight's a few of the matches on tonight alone. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches on tonight's or tomorrow night's card, 10 of the people involved came and started in NXT.
And like I was trying to say real quick, what I was leading to is, if that really shows you something, it shows you the mind of Triple H. Triple H even said himself, the starting blocks for what WWE, AEW, New Japan. Yeah, New Japan feeds from their dojo system, but you'll notice a lot of their guys are from other countries that have made success in the indies. These are companies that rely heavily on getting talent from the indies to scout their next talent. Yeah, they have dojos. Yeah, they have training buildings and everything, but a lot of them rely on the talent that comes up through the indies and gets themselves over to the point where, hey, we can't deny this guy. And it says a lot to Triple H, who said, this is where WWE starts. This is where pro wrestling starts, in these small little venues, like running out of an armory or an old church or in the middle of a parking lot for a fair. You know what I mean? It all starts somewhere. So I think Triple H really saw that, whereas Vince said, no, I'd rather already have guys that were pro athletes, like Olympic gold medalists or, football players or this and that. And that does work. You get the quote unquote look of a pro wrestler, because a lot of people still have that, what does a pro wrestler look like? But Triple H knew, he goes, well, so these guys do have looks, but they also have the talent. They've honed their crafts for 10 years. They're veterans of this business. They're going to give me what I want. So
I have a question then. With Triple H back in charge of talent relations and Stephanie being pretty much the most powerful person in WWE, his wife, how much of a shift do you see towards Hunter trying to bring back the image he had with NXT for the entirety of the company?
he does have that power to influence, but still Nick Khan's word and Bruce Pritchard's words are still going to be respected. I think that at the current moment, we might see the shift. The TV 14 rating is already a shift to get the older demographic, your 18 to 35-year-olds back to really invest in the product where we've mainly been targeting children. I think they're just trying to catch both ends of that. As Chris Jericho would say, I'm the demo god, because demographics really do matter in any show you put on, whether it's Grey's Anatomy or WWE or AEW. If you don't have a certain demographic watching, you're missing out on money that you could be making from those demographics. So I think the switch to 14 is the start, but I really do think it's going to be a here and there kind of deal. We might see people get pushed that weren't getting pushed before in Vince's eyes. So like Finn Balor could end up being Universal Champ again, or AJ Styles could have another run, or like guys that you weren't seeing that I wouldn't say but people felt weren't getting the just cause they did because they weren't Vince's idea of a superstar, as WWE would call them. I think you'll start to see that shift. But I think the shift that people have to also think about is Triple H was willing to work with indie companies before, right? Who's to say that's not going to open the door for WWE and New Japan to have cross promotion shows? I don't think that the relationship is still too new and they've already traded blows back and forth. I don't see cross promotion between AEW and WWE, but that doesn't mean New Japan couldn't, which would improve the wrestling as a whole because the fans would get their dream matches they've wanted for so long.
I honestly could see something happening between AEW and WWE. Looking at the fact that Tony Khan has already said he'd be completely open to the idea, the fact that Cody is back in WWE, one of the biggest pieces in founding AEW, as well as Hunter's willingness to work with the other promotions in the past, I can definitely see it happening.
I just don't see it happening right away. If it does happen, it may not be this year, obviously. It might not be next year. Maybe in the next 5 years when the more relationship sours. Because, I mean, look at all the blows back and forth. You could see them as playful blows, like the Hall of Fame induction for DX. Vince will buy that pissant company you work for just to fire you again. That kind of thing. That's because Triple H really didn't like the guys at AEW, with Cody maybe bridging. Or maybe it was just because he thought it'd be a funny little joke to throw at Billy Gunn. I don't know. We don't know how they feel. So time will tell.
Fair enough.
I see all the promotions being happy, and we get to kind of have national TV stuff, but I think the territory days would kind of come back a little bit. You know, everyone working together, no exclusivity. We might be able to have a happy relationship with everyone again.
Again, that's what we can hope for. I mean, it makes more opportunities for guys like me. I'm a indie wrestler. For those of you who don't know, I'm not going to say my name or anything like that because, no. But yeah.
Some of us believe in kayfabe.
Yeah, kayfabe is real. But listen, I'm an indie wrestler, and I mean, I'm at the local levels now. I'm doing a couple states. I'm going regionally. But it's that kind of deal where if all the companies are willing to work with each other, I could get say if I get invited to Ring of Honor, that means they start working with WWE. I can work with a WWE guy and say I do well enough to impress those scouts. I jump up to the bigger audience. You know what I mean? It's good for anybody in the business. I mean, look at what AEW Dark's done for most indie guys now. There's a lot of people that maybe wouldn't have gotten the chance on a regular WWE spot. I mean, yeah, they're dark matches, but how hard is it to get a WWE dark match? From what I hear, pretty damn hard. You know what I mean? So I feel that if all the companies did end up having at least a small working agreement with each other, I think it'd be great for the business. And some people go, no, then you don't have your rivals. I like this company, this company. I think it doesn't matter. I think pro wrestling is starting to become cool again. As some people would say, you're stupid for watching wrestling, da 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 da. I think, hey, no, I'm watching Raw. Oh, cool. Or I'm watching AEW. Cool. And I mean, the internet fans will still hate each other and choose their favorites.
I mean, we haven't really had that mentality since ECW folded either.
There have been some people, if you go on to like certain, like, even the workers will tell you that the internet wrestling community, so the people doing podcasts that aren't in the business that understand it, or, the quote unquote marks of the business that are really into the product, they are not nice. They are some of the most spite-filled people I've ever met and I've seen. Granted, I've taken jokes left and right before in the past. Most of them were jokes. Some of these people, no, they seriously believe, like, I forget what one person said to Jade Carhill. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. It's AEW. They're TBS Women's. Somebody said something really inappropriate on her Instagram story. Like, these people have no filter. They do not care. I've seen death threats to each other for liking one company or another, but I just feel if the companies start working together, I mean, it might actually improve the community, because the wrestling community is actually looked down upon. There's a lot of extreme people that make us all look bad.
There is, but at the same time, that's why I'm glad that you, Eric, and for the appearances I make on here myself, all have a background in the indie end of the business, because at least we can sit back and have a different perspective and look at the bigger picture.
We're all insiders on this show, so
sorry if you came here
we get to see behind the curtain what goes down.
Biased sayings like, I like this company better than this company. That's not
Yeah,
happening.
we all have our different styles, the way we like shows, but yeah, even my career in the business took a turn, huh? All of
Yeah.
a sudden, I'm booking cards. Like what?
Gonna be. Not yet. Don't jump that gun yet. You still got a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Calm
I still
down.
got 4 weeks, but first show's coming up August 28th. I'm stoked. Can't wait to see who shows up. Oh my god.
Good luck.
So speaking of shows, this is a good transition into one of the biggest shows of the year, WWE Summerslam.
Oh yes. I've been waiting for this, and excuse me, Kevin. I am so happy that you chose to make the debut episode of Shock Sports Wrestling a preview for the SummerSlam.
I mean, it works out. I mean, who's not excited? I mean, back when it was the big four, now there's like a big every event for WWE. This is one of the biggest ones. Some of the best wrestling history has happened at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and even with how much transition there's been with the pay-per-view schedules and whatnot, the SummerSlam is still the second biggest show of WWE's calendar year. So,
I haven't paid too much attention this week. I didn't see what the final cards were. So, Joffrey, I'm going to turn this one over to you on to the leading this through, because I myself am only aware of a couple matches that have been set in stone.
Well, I know the first match that is listed here, Mysterios versus Judgment Day. It's a no DQ match. With all of the history with Ray and Dominic already, the fact that there have been hints that Judgment Day is trying to recruit Dominic to the stable, and the whole factor of Balor joining late and then coming out as the real leader of the faction with their attack on Edge and all that. It's kind of culminated to this.
It was me, Edge. It was me all along.
Oh dear God!
You all bought it.
So if you want, I do remember I did see when they turned on Edge, they were trying to recruit Balor, and then he just said, "Nope, tricked you," kind of deal. I did see a little bit. I've seen they just had a locker room brawl on Raw or something like that. They just Judgment Day attacked the Mysterios in their locker room or something.
Whoa, Jeff Jarrett's coming out.
Speaking of, real quick, just to deal with that Jeff Jarrett for a quick little side tangent here real quick. I love how a different company, by the way, heads up people, Ric Flair's last match is a tag team match, and it's Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus Ric Flair and Andrade. Well, whatever he goes by now, I forget what it is.
Of course, his son-in-law is going to be his tag partner.
I kind of saw that coming.
But,
I mean, I'd love to see Ric Flair and Arn go at it. I don't care how old they are.
I just find it epic that we get to see Jay Lethal and Ric Flair one last time.
Woo!
Cannot wait to see the impersonations going wild again from Jay Lethal. I can't wait.
But back to back to SummerSlam real quick after that tangent. I had to get that off my chest as soon as you mentioned Jarrett. But so yeah, what else has been going on in this storyline, Joffrey?
There have been vignettes being aired over the past month that, depending on how you want to take them, could be signaling Edge's return. The fact that it is no disqualification, honestly, the story for this match is one of the most intriguing on the card because it can go in 6 different directions, and any one of them would be just as equally surprising.
Yeah,
Like,
sorry, I did see the vignettes that they're running. Clearly, it's Edge. There's so many symbolisms about some of the biggest opponents in his career. Anyone who's saying Bray Wyatt, I'm just really confused.
yeah, because there's hints at John Cena, Kurt Angle, The Rock, Jericho, all in that package. And other than Cena, who on that list has Bray Wyatt ever even worked with?
And I think there's even a nod to Eddie on there too. So it's like, yeah, no, Bray never worked Eddie. So
No. But when I mentioned about like 6 different directions this story could branch off, they've been hinting that the Judgment Day's been trying to recruit Dominic Mysterio. So could he turn on Ray during this match? Or with the no disqualification stipulation, who's to say Edge doesn't come back tonight to cost Judgment Day the match? Like,
yeah,
either one's going to be compelling.
if I had to guess the way they're going with this, if you're putting investment into Edge's return, even though he was only gone for like a couple weeks, there's not like they're hyping it up as if he's been gone for like 3 years.
No, it's been over a month.
Well, no. What I mean is like when they first started airing the vignettes, like the attack had happened, 2 weeks beforehand? So I'm confused on why you're doing that method. I mean, usually when I think of we're going to air vignettes that are really cryptic, it's mainly going to be for a guy that we haven't seen in a while, a guy coming back from injury, not a guy that was just here a month ago. That one confuses me. I'm kind of confused on where WWE's going with that. But I mean, I could definitely see Edge getting involved in this match and costing Judgment Day, and then him going to a rivalry with Balor.
You know what? Another thing that I don't know why it just clicked, but think about the list of people that the symbolism in the video packages were. Yes, Edge did face all of those people, but you know who else did?
Right.
And you know who has a history as a tag team with Edge? Who's to say Edge isn't going to come back and pull and reunite the tag team of him and Ray?
That does actually make sense because I think even yeah. So I mean, yeah, Edge coming back and him and Ray going up against Judgment Day with Dominic. I could see that because they're trying. Then again, Dominic, he's the weird one because at the same point you could think that, oh yeah, he's still just being, Ray's son. He's not really doing anything on his own yet. So we don't know really. We just know him as pretty much Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah.
That's what Rey Mysterio's name is. He's Rey Mysterio Jr., if you forgot.
Well, at least he was when he was still working in ECW and WCW.
Yeah. So
he dropped the junior when he debuted in 07 with WWE.
Yeah, so he's just
07.
Rey Mysterio Jr.
Or
Jr.
02.
doing his dad's.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. So it's like right now he's just being like just a take off of his dad. So maybe they do change it and Dominic turns on his dad and joins Judgment Day. I could see it being interesting either way because a story where Dominic just abandons the Mysterios and does his own thing, that's a good nod for him to see what he's really capable of.
Honestly, I can see both swerves happening in the same night. Dominic betrays Ray. All three of Dominic, Balor, and Priest just stomping the hell out of Ray, and then lights go out. Edge comes in and starts cleaning house with Ray.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say the safe bet is that I was going to say I could definitely see the latter happening, Edge coming back and helping the Mysterios win, which is going to set off a whole rivalry with all of them versus Judgment Day. But
I think he
Eric,
has something he wants to add.
Well, I guess I'll just gonna chime in with some SmackDown updates. But Jeff Jarrett just got accidentally super kicked by one of the Usos. So there you go. There's some added drama for tomorrow. Possible revenge.
That kind of changes my prediction for the match tomorrow night now.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what just happened. They were fighting, and Jarrett's trying to break them up. One of the Usos goes for the super kick. Ducks, pow, hits Jarrett by accident. So there you go. And then they're like, oh, shit. Everyone just stops and looks.
I'm having some technical issues, guys. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But yeah, I just wanted to chime in with that update for that tag team match.
Well, then, you know what? Do we have anything else further to say other than our prediction?
Sorry, I'm having some technical issues.
Based on the way it's going, I think they're going to let Judgment Day go over.
I'm going to put my nod in the. I'm actually going to say Mysterio's take the win because I see Edge returning and whether
Edge
it's
returns and screws Judgment Day.
Yeah. Sticks it to them. I can agree with that. I think that's my prediction personally. I mean, as cool as it would be to see Dominic go out on his own, you know, it'd be the biggest swerve if Edge comes back and it was all just a game and he just rejoins Judgment Day. I'd be like, what are you trying to convey here?
Is Vince Russo writing this shit again? God, man. Wait, you swerved everyone by hitting Edge, and the swerve is Edge is still the leader and fooled everyone. Like, that's a Vince Russo storyline right there.
It was me, Ray. It was me the whole damn time.
You thought it was just 2-1-2, you son of a bitch.
By the way, short shit, happy anniversary.
So, yeah, but back to this note, I can agree. I do think that Edge is going to come in and screw Judgment Day and the Mysterios take the win on this one. Eric, what about you?
He'd already voted Judgment Day.
I voted Judgment Day. I think they're going to put him over. I think we're going to get very disappointed.
All right.
It's WWE. I mean, you know, yeah, it's Triple H running it now, but is he really going to change over plans the day before? He could. He could really have a production meeting and do it if he wanted to. But who wants to take all that time on an already written show?
Again, card subject to change. Look at Seth Rollins and Riddle.
Right. That match got scrapped. Now Brock Lesnar probably ain't showing up.
If there's anything that could happen here. We don't know.
I mean, yeah, the whole card's going to get shaken up. I mean, it happens. It happens at our indie shows.
It happens on the biggest stage of them all, meaning WWE.
I mean, yeah, WWE, AEW. I mean, it happens. Yeah, shit happens. But we'll see what tomorrow brings on that front with the card. All right, what's the next matchup we're going to talk about?
Well, I was going to go with the next one listed, but since you did kind of just give us a big update on one of the storylines going into tomorrow, I say we skip down to the Undisputed Tag match, the Usos versus the Street Profits with Jeff Jarrett as the special guest referee. Now, with the dominance of the Bloodline over the past few months, or hell, over the past year, realistically, since Roman won the title from combine the titles at last year's Mania, or whatever,
Mania.
Yeah, whatever. I would have said the Usos retain, but with the fact that you just said that either Jay or Jimmy super kicked Jeff Jarrett in the next week,
I can't tell with both of them. They're twins. Identical twins is tough. So one of the Usos kicked them. Yes,
I can definitely see Jarrett playing favorites and ensuring the Street Profits walk away with the belts.
That's what I'm thinking too. Who knows? Maybe Vince Russo is back and Jarrett just ends up kicking one of the Street Profits for some reason.
Yeah, Bianca Belair comes out and costs the Usos the match because that's her husband on the Street Profits.
And then Seth Rollins comes down with a chair for some reason, hits the referee. I don't know why.
Oh no! I figured Seth Rollins would come in during the Raw Women's Title match and bash Bianca Belair to give his wife the win.
Right?
hey, WWE, anything can happen now that Seth's got nothing better to do. He'll dance out to the ring as he does it. Because
But
I didn't know he did that until I saw Mania. It's been a while since I watched. Mania was the first one I'd watched in a while, and I'm like, why is Seth dancing to the ring? It's like, what's happening? But yeah, with this match, with Eric's update, I think Jarrett will definitely do the playing favorites. So the Usos go to count, and it's like 1, 2, and then a kick out. I do still think though that WWE is liking what they got going on with the bloodline. I could definitely see the Usos walking away with it still, even with the favoritism.
yeah, but realistically, how much more can the Street Profits take on losses before it starts hurting their gimmick? Like, I see them as needing the win more than the Usos at this juncture.
I mean, I agree. I do agree with that one. I think the Street Profits need another little nod, but everyone's got to evolve at some point. So maybe, they want to freshen up their gimmick and maybe they go back to the drawing board and they really breathe new life into it.
See, I'm probably going to give a spoiler here, but honestly, I'm thinking my thoughts right now after the super kick incident that Eric just pointed out. I think tomorrow night is when the entire bloodline gets dethroned.
You think that it's going to be?
We'll get to that. We'll get to the other half of that equation here in a bit.
Okay. So you think that this time that WWE is like, okay, we've had fun with the bloodline. We're going to change it up a bit. Roman's still going to be a very big player around here, but we're going to give the nod. That might be the only way they can convince Brock to come back, because he said, I'm here for Vince, not for you. And then when he walked out of SmackDown last week.
What the hell am I?
Like I said, we'll get to that in a bit.
No, I know we're going to get to that one in a minute.
Bit.
Yeah.
Next matchup is a bit of a grudge match for Mania. Honestly, there's not much to say because I know we all watched Mania, but
so yeah, this one. So I get why they signed Logan Paul. I do. I really do. He draws. As much as we don't want to admit it, YouTube celebrities have become celebrities now. I mean, they don't get all the recognition that other people get, but like your gaming YouTubers are held to a different standard than it's just a prank bro YouTubers and stuff like that.
I hate to do this, but I will be right back.
Okay. But so yeah, I get why WWE signed him. It's to get another demographic to look. Eric, you understand this as well. I hope you see what I'm trying to say here. I know why. He's going to draw. He's going to bring in a different audience that that trailed off. He's entertaining. I'll give you that. At WrestleMania, he performed well. There was just a couple of things that I noticed because I know what's going on. Like when he racked his nuts off the bottom rope, trying to slide out the bottom. That was something messed up. And I noticed he landed wrong on something, but we all land wrong from time to time. But other than that, he impressed me. Other than Bad Bunny, he's the only guy that has no long-term wrestling training other than Pat McAfee. But he's been in the ring a few times before on the indie level. But yeah, I honestly, Logan Paul impressed me. And you know what? Now that he's signed in, I can't wait to see what they do with him. I don't see him being a WWE champ one day or a Universal champ. I could definitely see a United States or Intercontinental in his future. He's entertaining enough, and he's not bad in the ring.
No, I think on like what they gave him like 3 to 5 months of in-ring training for free, basically, at the Performance Center, and
he'd have been able to afford it anyway. That dude's loaded,
right? But like, they offered to train him because he's an ultra superstar, and he's like, "All right, this is a challenge." He did it, and he looked excellent in like 3 to 5 months of training.
Yeah, he did really good at Mania. I'm not going to deny that. A guy with limited wrestling training, other than Bad Bunny, went in there and actually performed very well. Bad Bunny, the 2 times I have seen him, has done good. And like I said, the only other person that's in that category is McAfee. But again, the pro athlete background, and he's been in a ring before on the indie level. I mean, it's not something you expect, but hey, it happens. And if he's entertaining enough, he's got a look that you like, and he's popular enough. I could see a U.S. or a Intercontinental Championship in his future, which means I chose Logan Paul to beat The Miz.
This is an interesting one. This match can go like 50 to 100 different ways. It's a tough one to pick. I Usually WWE matches are easy to predict, but now that Triple H is in charge, now I have to second guess every decision I make. So my gut tells me that Miz is going to win.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to go with. Mark me down as the Miz.
I'm in the exact opposite camp here. At this whole card, this is the easiest one to call for me. One, you've got a huge household name megastar that just signed with your company. There's no way in hell they're going to let him go down on his first match. Paul's picking up the win. Besides that, Miz is pretty much bulletproof at this juncture. It doesn't matter how many losses he takes. It's not going to, there's no way it's going to hurt his standing in the company. Like, he is that, he's earned his tenure, and it's not, whether he loses or wins with the type of gimmick he has, it's not going to hurt his fan base or his standing in the company. So,
yeah, I think the Miz is. Obviously this is a different Miz. Like, you hear the stories of the Miz, like, oh, this, that, this, and throughout his career. But get it. I think the Miz would be that guy that puts over the new talent. I mean, they gave him the win. They gave their team the win at Mania. I think the WWE is all in on Logan Paul, and he's going to beat Miz. And then Miz isn't going to let it die, so they're going to have a rematch, and I think that's when Miz beats him.
even more curious to say, or even more in tune with what you just said. Yes, at this Mania, they gave Miz and Logan Paul's team the win. Miz was also involved in a tag match last year at Mania that also had a celebrity outsider in it. And Miz and Morrison had no problem putting Bad Bunny over. So,
because at this point, everyone knows who they are. They're you can't talk about wrestling without eventually getting to John Morrison and the Miz, especially if you're talking about the later 2000s, the mid to late 2000s into today. The Miz has been there. The Miz is a one-time WWE champion. Yeah, it's only the one time. But no, two-time. One time? One time.
He's won it twice.
Has he won it? I can't remember. I know at least the one that I remember, the long title reign they gave him, and he got the heat he needed, and he's been trusted with how many times Intercontinental champ now. I don't think it's going to hurt Miz to put over Logan Paul. Plus, you build Logan Paul like, hey, he does belong here. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, you dummy.
That's what I was going to say. My SmackDown update. He's about to come on SmackDown. Go, dummy, yeah.
He doesn't do that anymore.
I know. I wish.
All right.
I wish.
The Miz's rundown here: 8-time tag team champion, 2-time United States champion, 8-time Intercontinental champion, and 2-time WWE champion.
Okay, so he was a 2-time. When was the other time? I must have missed it.
You know what? He's held both. He held it during the relaunch with. Originally won it while it was still the spinner belt because he had the WWE logo.
That's the run I remember.
Upside down. He also won it once after they switched to the current design.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that one. I must have just been not paying attention. But me and you agree Logan Paul's going over in this one, right, Joffrey?
Yes.
Eric's the one that's going for the Miz. I don't know if we've been actually writing these down who wins the predictions here, but yeah, we should remember that.
So far, you and I have been on the same page all card, and Eric's been the odd one out all 3 matches that we've talked about.
It's all right. Keep it coming.
All right, so what's the next match we got on our list?
Well, since you mentioned him during the discussion of Logan Paul being an outside celebrity coming in that's impressed in his brief showing in WWE.
Yeah. Pat McAfee. See, did I watch the Pat McAfee match yet? Yeah, WrestleMania.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So this one, Pat's good. I think, didn't he get the win at Mania? No, he lost.
No, he won.
He did
over
win.
Theory.
Okay.
And then he beat Theory and then lost to Vince.
Yeah. So okay. So here's how I see this one going. I know Triple H does like McAfee. I know a lot of the guys there are very impressed with him. I just think, how much can you F over Baron Corbin over the years? Our one friend would be very angry at us even saying that. Our one old friend. But I think Corbin goes over on this one. I'm going to have to say, as much as I like Pat, he's impressed in the ring. He's entertaining, all this stuff. I think Corbin's going to go over here. But if he doesn't, I feel like Madcap Moss is going to be involved somehow, whatever he goes by now. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Corbin here too. I don't see too many celebrity wins happening often. So like every time there's a celeb match, I'm always gonna go with the wrestler 9 times out of 10, just because it's the most predictable option. So yeah, I think Corbin's gonna win, but I think McAfee will give him trouble. I don't think it's gonna be like a dominant squash or anything.
Okay, I guess it's my turn to be the odd man out.
no,
because
he's not going to squash him, but it's definitely, I do feel like Corbin.
I'm going to be the odd man out here because I'm going to say McAfee. And one, because of the fact that Corbin isn't going to really be able to have scouted him much per storyline wise. The fact that McAfee is way more athletic and than he looks. Look at the spot during the Theory match at Mania where I can't remember exactly what the move was, but Theory thought he'd thrown McAfee from the top rope, landed on his feet, turned around, and jumped right back up onto him. Like, I could see McAfee surprising Corbin with the athleticism and the fact that he's actually good in the ring. But I ultimately think it's going to come down to an appearance from Madcap Moss distracting Corbin for McAfee to get the roll up.
Yeah, that's why I said, so if there is no interference from Moss, I'm 100% going with Corbin. But if Moss gets involved in the match, I'm going to throw up on this one. My prediction is Corbin winning. But if there's no Madcap Moss interference, but if they're going to add that storyline aspect, then if Madcap gets involved, it's McAfee. But I'm 100% going with Corbin. I'm just saying, if booking follows the way I think it could, then it's the other way. But I'm going with Corbin.
Okay. Next match is where it starts heating up for me, where I think the discussions are going to go off the wall.
Lashley goes over. Theory cashes in the main. That's my personal opinion here. And I don't think he succeeds. I think Austin Theory, for some reason, Vince and creative really liked him. I don't know how Trips feels about Theory. I really don't. So I really don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I think Lashley goes over.
Let me tell you something about Theory, okay? I've watched a lot of his promos, a lot of his matches on YouTube. I don't know why people hate him. I really don't know why he gets a lot of X-Pac heat from a lot of the smart marks. I think they need to shut the fuck up and realize there's a legend, a potential legend in WWE in Austin Theory. If they do not put this guy over tomorrow, I will be pissed. This man can be a potential WWE legend. Give this man a fucking moment.
Not saying Theory's not good. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
there's a lot of haters. I don't know if you've seen it.
There is, granted. I don't fully know why. I think it's because he was with Vince McMahon, and a lot of people are like, oh,
I haven't seen that. It's a lot of he can't work. He's not talented. I'm like, and you're stupid. So, I mean, it's just as simple as that. Okay. Like, screw you. If you really think that WWE should fire him, go fuck yourself. As simple as that. All right. There's my rant. Since we're on the, yeah, I'm passionate about Theory.
Yeah.
So, I will say my
take goes over. Better do it, WWE.
So you think Theory's regaining the United States title?
Yes.
Okay. My stance on Theory is he's a hell of a worker. He's one of the most athletic people in the company right now, and has some of the, like, his sell of the stunner at Mania threw back massive shades of the way The Rock would sell it. Like,
I love that still.
I like Theory. I think he has potential. I think they need to do something with. He needs a gimmick change up though, especially
he-
now that Vince is gone.
Yeah.
He can't really get away with playing Vince's lapdog with Vince not being there.
Well, I think he's already started evolving it more so. You know how he's taking selfies and stuff in the ring? Like he even did one at Money in the Bank from what I saw. I think they're just going to play with he's just the arrogant D-bag gimmick is what he's going for. Now that Vince is gone, they're going to play heavily into that. But real quick to deflect back to something. So Eric, he has the Money in the Bank briefcase. You want him to win the United States instead of the WWE Universal. That's what you're
He
saying.
can't be U.S. and cash in for the.
I hate that. I hate when you're 3 champs at once. No, they did. It sucked in Impact when Bobby Lashley did it. It sucks now. I think he should go for the main, go big or go home. If you really want to do the Austin Theory project to its fullest, he cashes in when both Brock and Roman can't defend themselves.
You said 3 champs? I thought he was only the U.S.
If he's the U.S., both the titles they're still the Universal and WWE champion. Those are 3 belts involved. 3 belts. If he wins the U.S., he cashes in. He can cash in. It's a unified title, but they still carry both belts, unless he can only cash in for one.
Oh, that's right. They did unify it again, even though it's still brand loyalty. I don't understand that.
Yeah, he's both. So I don't know. That's my thing. Aren't Brock and Lesnar fighting? This is
Brock and Lesnar are going to fight
Brock
each
and
other.
Lesnar. Sorry,
That's SummerSlam.
I meant Roman.
Who's going to win, Brock or Lesnar? We're going to find out.
Vacant's going to win. No, so Brock and Roman, are they wrestling for both titles or just one of the two?
I believe it's for both.
Okay, so if that happens, if Theory cashes in, does that mean he only cashes in for one belt or the unified status of the belt?
Ooh.
That I don't know. Has anyone noticed that? I don't know what their stipulation on that is.
See, I'm thinking he could cash in for one, so at least Roman could still hold one.
That does make sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want the WWE Championship. He could do. He could beat Roman for that, and you know how WWE markets it. Oh, Roman's still world champ. No, he's a Universal champ. There's a difference now. But
before we get into that too much, I'm just going to say I think there's no way in hell Lashley loses to Theory for the United States title.
Yeah. So me and Joffrey are on the same page again. We both say Lashley. You're saying Theory for this belt.
Yeah, I'm kind of marking for Theory a little bit. I don't know. I love him.
You think as a referee he'd be unbiased? Former referee gets biased decision in there.
Well, I might still ref on occasion.
He's rooting for the referee. Screw all the guys in the matches. He's rooting for every wrestler.
I'm rooting for the ref. I'm rooting for
every
all
ref
in
any wrestling show. That's Eric's favorite guy.
Yep, I'm rooting for I'm rooting for 2 counts, and I'm also rooting for force.
And the referee ejections. You're out of
here. Ejections. Yep, I pop for ejections. Those are my favorite.
Or ref bumps.
Yep, I pop for those too. No, actually go. No, I'm just kidding.
My boy.
My boy. Hey, look how they massacred my boy.
All right. So what is the next match on the list here, Joffrey?
We might as well continue. We might as well, since we were already talking about it, cover the women last.
Last man stand. Okay, well, is Brock even showing up?
That's the biggest question right now. Yeah.
Well,
Brock
he
walked
was
out of SmackDown.
But he did, but then he was back for they said he did, but he was also there that night on the show. So I'm assuming he's there.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going on the assumption that he's coming. Let's just roll with that then. All right, so let's just say he's coming tomorrow.
We've seen this match.
Let's do it.
Personally, I think the reports that came out about him walking out of SmackDown with Vince's retirement were just a work.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know anything at this point. We were all in the dark, and nothing has come forth. Like, I haven't seen any dirt sheets or whatever come forward and say, no, that was part of the story. I don't know anything about that. But what I do got to say is, with this match, we've seen it so many times. It's become the new Cena and Orton. All right. A rivalry that works, right? It works. It works the first 4 times. But then the next 4, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do here. I think the most interesting thing would be the thought of Theory cashing in and either winning both belts or winning just one. Because there was a thing that I saw by a YouTuber. At the moment I can't remember his name, and I apologize for that. And that's he said, what I hope happens is Theory cashes in this last man standing match where both men are down, and all he has to do is stand there. Both men can't reach the count of 10 after they've just taken each other out. Theory is the champ. Theory goes out there and gets heat because he didn't have to do anything. He just walked out and cashed in. That would be entertaining.
It would. I'm liking the idea of what you mentioned about if the Money in the Bank is only good for one of the two titles. I can definitely see it coming down to Brock and Roman, and Roman successfully defending over Brock. But because of how jacked up he is from the last man standing match, Theory getting an easy, quick, here I'm gonna hit my finisher 1, 2, 3. And taking at least one of the, taking ideally one belt off of Roman and have him keep the second one, because Survivor Series is in 3 months, and with the fact that they've done away with the 5-on-5 Survivor Series style tag matches in favor of matching up the respective Raw champion with the SmackDown champion for each division. Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to see Roman Reigns wrestle his damn self.
I mean, I don't know. We've seen wrestlers wrestle brooms. We've seen them wrestle kids. We've seen them wrestle sex dolls.
Yeah, but Roman Reigns is no Kenny Omega to be able to pull that off.
I mean, some in different aspects, they're both very talented wrestlers. I mean, I just don't think that's Roman's style of wrestling. I think would be the best way to put that. And the nicest way to put that is I don't see Roman. He might say stooping to that level. I would say it's just not his brand of wrestling. Kenny can give you the 6-star matches you need in technicality, but he can also have some fun. Roman, I'm not saying Roman doesn't have fun, because clearly it looks like he looks like a man having fun out there, but like I don't see himself doing the wacky matches. But
now, the other big question mark I have is Lesnar, if it's not just a work about him being pissed about Vince's retirement and saying if he's gone, I'm gone, this could be the last time we see him. But at the same time, they've also been leaving a lot of thought that Roman might be trying to follow in the steps of Cena, Batista, and Cousin Dwayne and going the Hollywood route. So who's to say that he's not going to be shortly out of the door himself?
Well, Eric, because he had to disappear for a second, is saying his thought is Brock goes over. Now I know you can hear us. Do you think Theory cashes in? That's what I'm waiting for his response to be until I get that response. So, Eric, do you think Theory's going to cash in at all? Oh, he's back.
So Brock Lesnar just came out to interrupt Paul Heyman. Anyway, so yeah, no, I think Theory will cash in. I think that's going to be.
But you think it's just going to be one of the belts, not going to be the two? Because as
yes.
Joffrey brought up, the Survivor Series route.
Yes, I think it would be just for one of the belts, and either Brock can keep one, still be a champ, and still go after Roman, and I think they'd give Theory an opponent. Start a feud there.
Or Roman goes after Theory.
Two different world
match. Or, yeah, and an alternate version of that, Brock wins, Theory comes out, takes out Brock for one of the belts, or say takes out Roman for a belt before Brock does. So does that end the match? Or they say, oh, Theory may have won the WWE title, but actually we're still fighting for the Universal. The mechanics of this match are what's going to drive me to the decision. I can't say one way or another on this, because I could see them giving it to Brock for a little bit, let him do some stuff, maybe keep the face Brock that we've been seeing, see what he's going to do. And I can also see them just keeping it on the bloodline. Roman's over, might as well not screw it up. But then again, Theory's got some momentum, so you've booked yourself an interesting scenario here. Either the match happens, one person walks away with one of the belts, or Theory cashes in, wins one, or both. Personally, I don't know. I could see them letting Roman keep them. In theory, doesn't even cash in. He cashes in later. Or he does the correct Money in the Bank thing, and that's being the ultimate opportunist and cashing in when one of the guys are down. I love those cash-ins. They're the most fun because they're the ones you're
Austin Theory
expecting
just
to come out.
attacked Brock Lesnar from behind with the briefcase. Up there you go.
Yeah, that's because Brock beat him down with the briefcase on Raw, didn't he?
Yep, here we go. And suplex on Theory. Boom. There you go. Oh, there you go. Bang, another German. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and Theory's now dead, and he will not be making SummerSlam.
He is wobbling all over the place with his briefcase, but he got
All right.
it. Nice and dented.
So, on the assumption that this stays as a last man standing match and it goes to its completion, so we've got 2 votes for Roman, 1 for Brock.
I could definitely see them letting. I could definitely see them letting Brock
Drew McIntyre just Claymore kicked
or
Theory in
Roman.
the face.
Okay, so now Drew's involved in this storyline.
And Drew just gave Brock a stare down after that. I don't okay. Cool. There you go. That's the ending.
Right.
SmackDown. Okay. That is your go home SmackDown show.
So, yeah, with everything that just broke down, I mean, if Theory does cash in, he's going to be very cautious. So I would wait till they're down for the count. If I did cash in and storyline thought process, I say Roman retains, but maybe Theory cashes in, so the belt's split.
That's my call as well. And Eric had already said Brock gets the win.
But this Theory cash in, add 2 parts to this. You can get a point, and you can get another point if you guess Theory cashes in.
I say why not?
You say Theory cashes in on Brock and Roman and takes one belt, and Brock goes over for the other.
Yeah, usually SummerSlam's the time to do it. I mean,
I think that actually a lot of cash-ins have happened on SummerSlam, haven't they? Or am I crazy?
yeah.
I don't know.
Like
the women's
Randy
title,
Orton's win on Daniel Bryan.
I know the women's belts usually get cashed in either that night or the next night on Raw.
Or the next 2 nights now. It's on Saturdays. The pay-per-views.
Yeah, semantics.
I know. I'm just saying, it's just so weird. I'm used to WWE pay-per-views being on Sundays. It's just, I still can't get used to that.
I mean, I think switching to Saturday was a smart move because most people don't have work the next morning.
That's true. You're asking people at 8 o'clock in the Eastern time zone to stay up with you until 11 or 12. It's a lot to ask.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
And imagine this thing's streamed all over the world. Remember, it's not just one time zone you have to worry about.
True.
It's like watching New Japan, where you got to either be up super freaking early to watch it, or you're up super late watching it, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have 2 more matches left.
All right, let's move on to those ones.
I'm trying to figure out which one's more compelling to talk about. Screw it.
Okay. I do like how they push Liv. This is something that I think that, she's earned the chance. She's been very entertaining. She's a good worker. I don't see why she couldn't beat Ronda. Why they wouldn't let her have that nod. But I don't think it's going to be a spectacular, clean finish. I think it could be a roll-up win or anything that has to do with a shocking finish.
Well, I will say something that got brought up from Dirt Sheets, since you were mentioning with them earlier. Apparently, Liv cashing in the night of Money in the Bank after she'd won the briefcase. Apparently, Ronda pushed for them to let her be victorious and win the belt, have her first reign. That being said, I can see Rousey continuing to push for Morgan to have a good run. So yeah, I'm going to say Morgan goes over and retains.
Build more top competitors. I mean, obviously on a card, you have to have your guys that you consider these are main attractions, your main eventers. Then you have your upper kind of guys that are like, okay, we showcase them a lot more than others. Then you got to showcase these guys are generally in the middle of the card. We know how the structure works. Why not build another woman's star? In WWE, you got Becky, you got Ronda, you had Sasha,
Bianca.
but we don't know where she's at. You have Bianca.
Yeah, it's
Well, with
like
Sasha and Naomi gone, who else do you
Bianca,
have?
Charlotte, Becky,
Charlotte, Bailey when she
Ronda,
comes back. But till
like
then, you need to build a new star. I mean, WWE's had a problem with building new stars. Like I said, we're having Roman and Brock times 7. Yeah, it sells, but Theory's the wild card in that. So why not let Liv continue building herself? If she's over and she's on a hot streak, let her continue on that hot streak. Crowd likes her.
yeah, and see that's the problem with WWE. They instead of having 10 to 12 different guys or girls that could sell you merch, instead it's like 2 to 3. And I swear they have this like 2 to 3 rule every 5 years, and they'll switch it up. But
And
it'd be like Cena, but they would switch out 2 or 3. So Cena would always be in that, and I remember Wade Barrett was switched in and out during that time. Maybe they were there. Rusev? You know what I mean? But like, it seems like instead of letting everybody be over, they only let 2 or 3 be themselves on screen.
let's see a little quick trivia question here for you guys. See if you guys can get the right answer. During Cena's 15-year reign as the face of the company, there was one person who consistently outsold Cena while he was there. Like, not just it would being a fluke for a certain match or anything, but it was pretty much consistent that he outsold Cena. Do you either of you know who either of you have a guess?
In 15 years, Cena from 2000. What year are we talking about to start? So when he became like Super Cena,
Pretty
kind of
much
deal
from
after
much-
Thugonomics.
yeah.
Okay.
That this person wasn't there the whole time, but when he was there, he consistently outsold him.
It's either got to be Brock or Punk. No.
You mean in merchandise, right?
Yes.
Ray. Not even Ray. I mean, he sells a lot of masks. I would have thought.
No, the one person who was consistently outselling Cena when he was there and not wrestling elsewhere, Jeff Hardy.
And they still they did eventually let him win the WWE title in 2008.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy, yes. He won the he's held both of the major belts, Big Gold and the WWE title at separate points.
Yeah, I do remember him. I do remember his 2008 title win,
which was when he won the, if I'm not mistaken, that one was the Big Gold. Or no, that was the WWE title.
Yeah,
he won that in the triple threat match with
I know Triple H was
with
one
Hunter and Michaels.
Yeah, that's who it was. It was another triple threat match that they just had to redo with Triple H and Shawn Michaels because they couldn't let Chris Benoit be the only guy to do that and win. They had to remake that one.
And if I'm not mistaken, when he won the Big Gold, I think he won that off of Benoit.
That's two guys. That's 2 guys that found the world heavyweight title in the middle of the ring randomly. It's crazy, Kevin.
Yeah, people just randomly finding a belt in the middle of the ring. Yeah. Speaking
twice
of
in history.
But
You're such an asshole, Eric.
hey, I mean that was a huge topic of debate, and a lot of people got mad at Jordan Grace for bringing up his name recently because she just said, "How are you guys going to talk about how good he was in the ring when what he did was so terrible?" It's like because we're separating the wrestler from the person in that one. So I'm not going to touch that topic. It's still incendiary right now.
No, I'm not. No, I was just, you know what I mean, like the WWE racing history. That's all I was joking
Well,
about.
yeah, but no, I'm saying I don't even want to touch anything with that topic right now. It's so incendiary. It's not even funny.
I was saying it's just a joke. No need to get
15
offended.
years
everybody.
later.
Yeah, but it's still it just got brought back up, and a lot of people are still mad about what she said. And she apologized, but a lot of people are still very upset. I'm not going to get into that one. There's a lot of people who know Grace, and I'm not, that are probably are on our Twitter as well as we know. I'm not touching it.
Right.
But what I'm going to say is back to the match. I do think Liv continues on and they continue pushing her. especially if Ronda's a big proponent of Liv Mania going on here.
Yeah, no. Listen, WWE, whenever Vince McMahon was in charge, they had a huge problem in pushing new stars. They were just afraid to half the time. I think this is the time you have to start building new stars. If Liv wins, you got it. I mean, why not? Hunter, book it, please.
Or Bruce, or whoever.
I think Hunter gets the final say on the card.
Shane Helms, book it. Abyss, book it.
So Bruce Pritchard sits down with the guys. Here, Hunter, here's my sheet. Okay, can you change this, and this?
Natty's husband, make it happen.
Yeah, Tyson, make it happen. Come on. So who do you think, Joffrey?
Knowing what what has been reported about Ronda pushing for them to give Liv the successful cash in, because I guess originally they were trying to say have her go and try to cash in and keep Ronda looking dominant by canceling it out, and Ronda saying no, if we're gonna have her cash in, we're giving her the belt because she deserves it. She's one of the more popular wrestlers on the women's division. I see Ronda continuing to build off of that and pushing for Liv to continue. So I say Liv retains.
So we're all in agreement on this one.
Holy hell, I think that's the first match all night.
So the last one was which one? The Raw? Yeah. All right, Raw Women's title. Keep Bianca going or Becky?
This is the one that it's like hardest for me to make a call on in this whole night.
They're both over, beyond over, and I don't understand fully what Becky's going for with her new gimmick. Is she just going to be like, I'm the pop star, like I'm the biggest star in this women's division, so I'm going to do whatever I want to do? Is that like the gimmick she's portraying? I'm really confused because all I've seen is her coming out dressed like Lady Gaga every week. I don't know what's going on.
I was going to go more Kesha than Gaga, but yes.
That works too. I mean, they're both kind of stars in the music business that do like outrageous things. But if you're going to say that, she's Madonna.
Oh, dear God.
Because Madonna did it first. But yeah, I don't know what the gimmick is. I think it's interesting. I do think it's a side of Becky Lynch we've never seen before, and it works. We've seen the man. We've seen the Irish Lass kicker. Whatever this is, it's intriguing. I just don't fully understand what's happening.
I mean, Becky is hands down the biggest star in the women's division. Like at this point, she's surpassed Charlotte. Then again, Charlotte earned herself a good amount of heat for the piss poor professionalism she showed with the title exchange, but that's here nor there. So I can see them wanting to put the title back on Becky at this one of the biggest shows of the year. However, think back to last SummerSlam when Becky made her return from maternity leave and the 27-second bitch slap pin squash. I can't really see them letting Becky get the one up on Bianca 2 years in a row at the same event.
I mean, in the world of the WWE, it's an interesting one that I've seen, at least with the main roster time of Belair, for example. They do, at least with the matches I've seen, is Becky and Belair have put each other through hell in their matches. I mean, what was it? Becky got whipped by Belair's hair or something like that, and it left a huge like welt on her that lasted like 3 weeks or so. Like these two can work, and they work well together. Either way, I honestly think that no matter how it goes, I can't decide this one, but I think they're both really good entertaining. I think these are some of the best women's matches personally, the ones I have watched. Even if they have a few misses or something like that, they've been entertaining as hell. They really know how to sell that they hate each other. Give me one moment, Joffrey, if you'd like to take over. I got to check something real quick.
Eric, what's your call on this one?
This is another one that could go either way. This one's really hard to predict for me, but I think they're probably going to go in the direction of Bianca Belair winning.
See, I don't like the fact that I'm making the decision because of the reason I'm going to. Because it's one of those ones, like I said, it's the hardest choice for me all night. And honestly, I'd prefer to see Bianca maintain. But looking at the other title matches, you know what? No, I also predicted the Usos to lose to the Street Profits. So you know what? I'm going to say to keep Becky pulling the chase and become increasingly more heel-like as it goes on. Bianca maintains, and this feud continues.
If I have to choose how this is going to go, I do like your idea of the chase happening. How it goes, like she just gets more and more better, like fitting in this gimmick and role she's playing. I still think they're going to give it to Becky. Just something about it. Just going to Becky. I don't know why. I'm just taking a shot in the dark. You know, I have nothing really to lose. It's just a prediction bit, but yeah, I think it's Becky. I mean, what do I got to lose here? I think that they love what she's been doing. I think, you know, she's established herself as the top female talent in WWE, the best women's wrestler in WWE, the most over, has been able to consistently be that person. Why not make her like Charlotte and win a bunch of belts? I know it seems weird in the sense of, oh, you don't need to have a title reign to be the best person in there mentality, but I mean, it's WWE. We've seen it done before. I can see them continuing it. I do think Becky goes over.
Okay.
And Eric, you said Belair as well, or did you say Becky?
I said Belair. I think
You
Belair.
both are on Belair. Okay, so we net for once I'm the odd man out. So that's a good change. I think it's pretty productive. So here's the thing. With SummerSlam, we know again one of the biggest pay-per-views WWE has, and we've gone through every match that is on the main show, right? None of these are pre-show matches.
As far as I'm aware, I don't.
Okay.
Because they really haven't been doing matches on the pre-shows lately.
It's more been like they're just panels.
Panels and the panels and the video packages and the storytelling of reminding fans why each match is happening.
Okay, I see. Because I remember they used to always, that's all they talked about. Here, there's going to be like 3 or 4 pre-show matches.
I mean, they still could. I mean, there's a lot of people that they still got to get exposure to, hey, this is a smaller time rivalry, but hey, here it is. Like, that stuff still happens. I mean, it is SummerSlam. That's your best time because they've turned all their major pay-per-views into a 6-hour event. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, the WrestleMania that's coming to Philly, by the way, that was announced, the 2024 Mania is going to be in Philadelphia, which, hey, why not?
I'm definitely
not that
going.
far. It's not that far. We might want to get the tickets in advance, but that could be something. You could see us live from Mania. Watch, I'll have a booking that day and be like, shit. I mean, hey, there's a lot of good indie shows that go on WrestleMania weekend. That's my goal. I work in the New Jersey area now. It's possible, right? It's possible for me.
If we find out the dates for Mania 24 soon enough, I may be able to swoop in and book hotel rooms on a discount, as long as I haven't quit my job by then.
I mean, hey, it's always something.
Keep it.
Keep it strictly for Mania. This is a wrestling podcast, sir. So on the wrestling podcast, we're going to be biased and say you keep that job strictly for me. But yeah,
Airbnbs are cheaper, so if you do quit,
just stay in an Airbnb.
Yeah, probably not for that event and not for 3 guys.
No.
Well, I mean, no, you can get shit with like 3 beds, dude. It's neat. You get all kinds of options.
And if first comes to worst, you and Eric can cuddle, and I'll sleep on the floor.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, seriously, they have a bunch of options.
If it comes down to that, worst case scenario, just know, Eric, I'm Big Spoon.
No problem.
Yeah, he'll give you the most warmth. But hey, guys, I'd say this is a pretty productive launch. I'd say I've had a lot of fun.
Do you have any plan, anything working in that brain of yours for to give a heads up for any of your
Yeah.
potential fans?
So yeah, as I said earlier, anyone who's listening to this or future listeners, depending on when you see this, I do plan on having a good mix here. We're definitely going to have some more of these prediction shows for pay-per-views, AEW and WWE included, and anything else I come across that I find interesting, as well as I'm going to be bringing on some indie talents, and if anyone in the business that I can get. So it could start as, the people I know, and it can go all the way up the ladder to someone like, I don't know, a couple people. Maybe we can get back some interviews with some guys that are a little higher up the ladder, maybe former WWE guys, retired wrestlers, anything. I'd say this channel, being as it is, and being that we're in the business, we have nowhere to go but up, in my opinion. So, hey, keep listening. I assure you, if you don't like one thing, you'll like another.
Well, I will say this much. After a couple of Eric's outbursts earlier in this episode, I don't think we're getting Russo anytime soon.
Probably not. Probably not. I don't think Vince Russo is going to be on this show anytime.
No, actually, he loves it when people bring him up. So
you and him can get an argument. Hey,
no, I'm serious. Like no, I like Russo as a writer. I just like to joke. You know what I mean? Like, he needs an editor. If you give him an editor, he's a genius.
Let's just also try not to double book that night and have him and Cornette on the same show.
Oh no, let's make sure to do that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Well,
I mean, I could make it happen.
Why do you want to spoil
Let me
the
make
fun,
a couple
Kevin?
calls. Let me get in some DMs real quick on Twitter. I'll be back with an answer. We'll see what happens.
But hey, guys, I just want to say it's been a fun show. I appreciate you if you're listening now or in the future. I mean, just stick around. You can find us on the Twitter. You never know. You might see me before you know it if you go to indie shows, but I'm not going to tell you that one.
You want to give them your plugs so they know what your handle is?
I cannot for this one, unfortunately. I'm going to keep kayfabe alive on this one, but you can follow us here on the channel at Shock Sports RAS, I think is what you have the Twitter as.
That's Shock
Eric?
Sports RASS.
Yeah.
Yes. Shock Sports RAS on Twitter. Obviously, you can follow our main distributor. It's actually right here in my screen, and that's Running Force Productions under our friend Joffrey here. And for the Running Force people that are listening, it's a pleasure to be on this network with you and streaming to you.
Eric, you want to give your plugs?
So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Eric_Reffert_96. I'm also going to be booking for a new promotion called Never Quit Wrestling. It's going to be fun. August 28th, we're going to be taping the show. It's going to come out sometime in mid-September. So stay tuned for that. I cannot wait. I am pumped to tape that bad boy.
Speaking of other wrestling promotions, Running Force Production fans are going to be getting sick of me and Eric over the next couple days because not only are we on here tonight, but he and I will be doing commentary and broadcasting for the Bridger Brawl being held in Aliquippa, PA tomorrow night. It is a boxing event being held by Productive Felon Industries. We got invited to do that, and it's actually a 2-night event because tied into Sunday afternoon, Eric and I are booked for the other half of this event, broadcasting and commentating for Code Red Wrestling.
A promotion I know very well.
So you can follow me on the Twitter at TJE Joker. That's TJEGEOCUR. And you can follow my show, which you can see on here, Mooncutter Sportscast, at Mooncutters.
Yeah, so while they're doing that, I'll be doing my own thing under my gimmick stuff at a completely different promotion. Again, I can't say much else other than that. But, if you're out there, some of us still believe in kayfabe. So I cannot say much more, but you can find me anywhere at any time. And you might not know it.
Yeah, I've been in long negotiations with a multi-time champion, so I hope I can get pen to paper with that guy soon. I can't say any names yet because he hasn't signed, but we're going to see if I can get him to sign August 28th.
But I think that about does it for us, guys. I mean, it's been a fun time. I mean, hopefully you guys stick around. We'll be doing another episode sometime soon. Again, it could either be a predictions episode or it can be one of the interviews.
Well, fingers crossed. I look forward to seeing big things from you guys on this network.
All right. Well, thank you for having us on the network.
Welcome
Absolutely.
to the team.
Been a pleasure.
Anyways, I'm gonna jump off now because I got to get ready for work.
Have
And we're
fun.
going to hop off because that's the end of the episode. So episode 1 is done and in the books. Thank you all for everything. Thank you, Joffrey. Thank you to my co-host, Eric, for
Yep.
spending their time talking about pro wrestling like we don't do it enough in our day-to-day lives.
Like we don't do something every weekend.
Exactly.
He's been driving me nuts talking about professional wrestling the past few weeks.
Yeah, that's dude. I don't know. I love it, man. That's what it's just what I'm meant to be in. Meant to be in the business.
All right, but representing Running Force Productions, this is Joffrey and Eric, as well as the host of Shock Sports Wrestling, Kevin, signing off.
Bye-bye.